Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me opportunity to connect with you on such an important conversation that you're having today. Thank you so much to Southeast Asia Youth for Humanity for always creating platforms where important conversation can be shaped and dialogue is formed. As an Asian woman myself, I've witnessed firsthand how our communities have thrived and been part of the global community, considering the efforts that have been put in by women of our communities. These women have played a vital role in holding communities together, thriving, may allow them to thrive in some of the most harshest conditions. And yet these women are not at decision-making tables often. Their work is increasingly being recognized. However, at the decision-making tables, we don't see we don't see the impact of their work being recognized. I always tell my colleagues about the peace building initiatives that have neglected the voice of women and what it would have been like if women were at decision-making tables when peace processes were signed. In Afghanistan, for example, when there were negotiations with the Taliban, what would have been like if women were at those tables? Do you think that the situation of women would have been as horrific as it is today? I believe that it wouldn't have been, and that's one of the reasons why we need to ensure that there's always a chair that represents the community efforts that are put into larger initiatives that we often are seeing through headlines. Nowadays, our social media is saturated with extreme views of the right and of the left. And it's important to understand that in order for us to thrive, we need to look at the gray zone and we need to look at the middle. And communities know better than anyone what it's like to be in that middle area, to be neighbors with people whose views are different from us. And women have done this in not only in their communities, but also particularly in their households. They managed to be the bridge builder between the generations, between different genders, between different stakeholders. And that particular skill would need to be recognized and scaled in order for our societies to continue to thrive. These are very important times, and you know better than anybody else, you being the young people that witness what's happening online. And ask questions when you see that there are gatherings that has been leaning towards inviting more men than women. Start asking questions why that is. I guarantee you oftentimes you come across particular reasons that can be problematic, and it would allow you to perhaps engage before there is damage done. And I think this is something that would help us to further bring communities closer together. This is one of our biggest objectives. Dialogue is the key. At KAICIID, we're very much keen to ensure that wherever setting we have, that the conversations are inclusive, the gatherings are inclusive. And that includes women, and not just women at the elite women. We're also looking at younger women. We're also looking at marginalized women. Every single segment of society have different needs, and based on their needs, they have different understanding of how the world works. And we need those ideas and those views in order to find solutions to some of the most challenging times that we're currently facing. So I trust you and I encourage you that in your work, in your social gatherings, in your endeavor, ask questions and ensure that inclusivity is not just a fancy word that is in policy briefs, but in fact is a day-to-day action. And ensure that there's a seat at the table for different segments of the community, particularly women, because without them, our society is much more prone to falling apart than coming together. So thank you so much, and I wish you best of luck on this conversation and look forward to hear more from you. Take care. Bye-bye.